Okay, so you get transferred to the adult prison, and then how much time did you spend there before you got out?
I think it was maybe like a year.
Okay. So then you got out in, was it 2015?
Yeah.
All right, and you get your high school diploma before they let you out, right?
Yeah.
So now you come out, age 21, high school diploma, and multiple felonies on your record.
4 felonies.
4 felonies. So now you have what I like to call forever punishment, meaning that with a felony, trying to apply for a job is difficult, trying to get an apartment is difficult, because they could legally ask if you have a felony and you have to say yes, and then they could actually discriminate against you legally.
Yeah.
To say, we don't want you living here, we don't want you working here. So how hard of an adjustment was it? Because you went back to Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, I went back to Boston. It was tough. So when I got out, I couldn't get into a reentry program because I wasn't convicted in Mass. So I had to go the drug route. So I lied and said that I was a fucking drug addict. Like, oh, I just got out of prison, but I fuck with pills, da-da-da. And they put me into this program. So I lasted a couple months in the program, got into a sober house, bounced around in like 2 or 3 of those, and then got into an apartment. But as far as like trying to find a job and shit, I quickly realized there's no point telling the truth. It doesn't do anything for you. You know, I try to be honest with people, like, yeah, I fucked up, I did this, I did that. They would see the tattoos and then they would hear what the charges are and they were like, nah, we're good.
Okay.
So I ended up getting my first job at fucking Dunkin' Donuts and I got fired on my day off.
Okay. Did you have the face test at that point?
Yeah, I had the face test before I went to prison.
Before you went to prison?
Well, I had this one. I had the majority of my tattoos before I went to prison. The only
Okay.
thing I got in there was my hand, and when I got out, I got my forehead.
Okay, and the face tat on your cheek, what does that signify?
It means dreams, to keep your dreams in sight.
Okay. But once you get a face tat, you're now crossing over a line that is hard to come back from.
Well, my dumb ass, when I got this shit, I wanted to be a rapper. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I can't get a job so I can only be a rapper.
So you did it on purpose.
Yeah, and then I quickly realized that shit ain't going to work out.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert did the same thing.
Oh, it worked out for him.
It worked out for him.
Yeah.
But, you know, but there's also the guy that works the Jack in the Box near my house who's got a big face tat that it didn't work out for him. So, you know, I've always said, like, a face tat should cost $1 million.
Yeah.
If you got $1 million to buy a face tat, you're okay.
You know what's fucked up too is when I went to the spot to get it, I thought it was gonna be this big thing. The tattoo artist that I knew personally, he didn't want to do it. He's like, I don't want to do your face, whatever. There was another guy that was willing to do it, and I'm all nervous and like, damn, I'm gonna tap my face. That my aunt doesn't know I'm doing this shit. I sat down for 2 seconds. It was just bzz, bzz, done. Like, that was it. Like, yeah, that's it. And forever changed my fucking life.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Okay, so you get out. You find work at Dunkin' Donuts, you get fired, and then at age 22, you get arrested again. This was 2016.
Yeah.
This was assault with a firearm?
Armed assault with intent to rob and dangerous assault by means of a firearm.
What happened?
They said I was chasing somebody with a gun.
Were
trying to take their shit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why
I mean,
you,
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is what happened, right? Is I fucking had a girlfriend, couldn't afford anything, couldn't do anything, and I got real tired of not being able to find a job, going places. I was really trying. I was really making an attempt to try. I went and got glasses so I look friendlier, all type of shit. I got these fucking Ray-Bans thinking this is gonna work. Nobody wanted to hire me, so I was like, all right, fuck it. The prison mentality kind of came back. I'm seeing people with chains. I'm seeing people with this and that. And I was like, I bet you I can take that shit. And you know what I mean? So I started doing what I was doing. And there was a situation where somebody was over where I was at. Jewelry, whole Gucci outfit, all this shit. So I tried to get all that shit. He ended up pulling out fucking like mace or pepper spray.
Oh, and he sprayed you?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he did?
But the point of what I'm doing is not to fucking boom you. It's to get what you have. So I went back into my spot and put the shit away, completely changed my outfit. I was like, I'm going to just beat him out of his shit because I've been sprayed before in the county. It doesn't really do nothing. Or in prison. And when I went back out there, because they said that there was like a dating app that was involved in the situation, that he was communicating with somebody on a dating app. And that's more or less how he got brought out there. So when I went back out there, he had already called the police. I didn't know. but he was still outside in the back of these buildings. So I go out there, I see him, he starts running, I start chasing him, and then 2 BPD squad cars pull up, take guns out, and fucking I get booked.
Okay, so now you get arrested with 4 felonies involving guns already on your record.
Yeah.
So what happens then?
So I get booked, I get a $500 bail. Everything, when I went in front of the judge for the first time, the cell phone number was wrong from the dating app to compared to my phone number. There was 2 descriptions. So there was the description of the first outfit I had on and then the second, but they didn't know how I did that. So that kind of also fucked them up. So the judge is like, $500 bail. I get out on bail. I go in front of a judge, fast forward a little bit. And he's like, you got out of prison in July of 2015. You caught this case exactly 1 year later in July 2016. You've yet again caught another firearm charge, a violent offense. You need to go back to prison. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because the prosecutors came up with the deal. They were like, look, you sign off, we're going to give you 2.5 years probation with a 2.5 year suspended sentence. If you fuck up, you got to do the whole 2.5. I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. They tell the judge denies it.
All right, well, it's up to the judge to accept a plea deal, right? He has to sign off on it.
And he specifically wanted me to go to prison.
Okay, so did you go to prison?
No. I thought I was fucked. So the next court date, the prosecutors were still fighting for the deal because I had superior court charges. This got handled in district court. I was supposed to get indicted to superior. I'm thinking I can beat this shit because all the fucking the cameras in the back of the building, none of them worked. They never recovered a firearm. They never recovered the outfit that I was originally wearing. None of that shit. But my girl was pregnant at the time. So I'd rather cop out knowing I did it than risk it and get fucked over. So he ended up taking the deal. So I got 2.5 years probation, 2.5 years suspended sentence, and they put me in a program within the courthouse where you gotta like work or volunteer a certain number of hours and you can get the probation knocked off.
So you got lucky.
I got real lucky.
Yeah, because you should have went back to prison.
And if I was in the state of Florida and attempted to rob somebody with a firearm, we have the PRR law, the Prison Release Reoffenders Act. If you commit a certain offense, they double it, like that's the enhancement, and they make it mandatory. Armed robbery is a punishable by life offense. I would have had a mandatory life sentence had I committed that crime in the state of Florida.
As opposed to Massachusetts.
As opposed to being in Mass is the only thing that saved me. I would have got smoked. And while I was in prison, I met kids that were doing this. They would go home. 3 months later, they come back. Yo, I got a mandatory life. What happened? Man, I took somebody's chain, bro. I did this, I did that. Stupid shit. But that's the shit we were doing in prison left and right because we don't get time in there. You stab somebody in Florida, you stab somebody, you get 60 days in confinement for the stabbing and then 60 days for the possession of a weapon. 120 days, you come back out in the same prison with the dude that you stabbed. So there's no, we get released and it's like, you just don't care. You don't take it that serious.
Okay, so you get probation. And was it 2019 that you start your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay. Between that time, so you basically are on probation leading up to starting that channel.
Right.
What are you doing for money up to then?
I mean, I was trying to sell shit, and then I ended up walking them to a pizza place right up the street from my house. I had pills in my pocket and everything when I did the interview. They hired me. So I was working, I think, for $650 under the table, $650 an hour. I was getting fucked, but it was a job. And they told me that they're willing to, sign off on the little probation shit. So I'm like, fuck it. So I work at this place for a little bit. I get cool with the manager, and he's even giving me rides to probation because there's certain days I got to check in. So I'm checking in. He's bringing me back. I'm working. I'm not really making shit, but it is what it is. And then we got into one argument, and I quit. I didn't like how he was talking, you know what I mean? And I ended up getting another job at a smoke shop. So this was like the best job I ever had. I had dunks, pizza, smoke shop. In here at the time in Massachusetts, recreational was legal and gifting was legal. So we used to have cartridges inside of the store. If you came in and you bought a vape pen for $40, we give you a free cartridge. So my dumb ass, I started bringing my own cartridges. We didn't have anything in the system because I broke the sales record. Like I was in there killing it. They loved me as a fucking employee. And then everyone, because I don't know if you're familiar with South Boston, we're right next to the projects where Whitey grew up at. Whitey Bulger.
Whitey Bulger, yeah.
So we're by those projects and then we're by the other projects. So I got everybody coming in here. They're mad chill, asking me about the tattoos and shit. I'm telling them the stories. They're like, yo, you should get on a podcast. Everybody was telling me I should do Joe Rogan. That's what they were saying. I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But that's where I started telling all these stories that I eventually put on YouTube. And I ended up getting fired because I pretty much, like, the sales dropped after I took all the customers because I was selling all the cartridges. But before I ended up getting fired, the owner of the smoke shop came to court on my behalf. I ended up becoming a manager there. I'm working 44 hours. I'm training employees. I got another kid at the probation shit hired to the smoke shop at a different location. She spoke on my behalf. They terminated my probation. So